expected in last week's episode of the Book of Boba Fett, the Mandalorian has arrived. Let's be honest, it was a dead giveaway with that musical theme at the very end of Chapter 4. The intro to this week's Chapter 5 was straight to the point, but some of us have come to expect from the modern Star Wars at this point. Let's dive in and discuss. Greetings my young Padawans, my name is Captain Jack and welcome to Star Wars Now. Chapter 5 is titled The Return of the Mandalorian, and wow, he certainly does make quite an entrance while out on his usual bounty hunting escapades. As some reported, Bryce Dallas Howard does indeed direct this episode, along with being written by Jon Favreau, as usual. The title is a dead giveaway for what takes place in Chapter 5, but I don't think many were ready for the twists and turns that this episode would throw at us. Before we do jump into the video, use the force and hit that subscribe and like button to never miss a video for myself and the team here at Star Wars Now. As always, if you're talking about Star Wars, then we want to hear about it. Straight off the bat, the Mandalorian is out hunting another bounty, this time on some mysterious world which gives key Halo vibes. Seriously, at the moment I thought I'd accidentally turned into watching the new Halo trailer that is due this Sunday. You get what I mean. As some did expect, Mando is out and about doing his usual bounty hunting business that we've come to expect. Additionally, he's still wielding the Darksaber, the weapon that allows him to rule Mandalore. This was a sticky point at the end of Season 2, as Bo-Katan intended to defeat Moff Gideon and take back what was hers, but Din Djarin beat her to it. While in this mysterious world, we're also seeing another Mandalorian tribe. This time with the return of both the Armourer and Paz Vizsla. Fun little fact, Paz Vizsla is actually related to the Death Watch leader, Pre Vizsla, who previously, wielded the Darksaber before losing it to Darth Maul, who then took over Mandalore. Paz Vizsla is actually played by Jon Favreau as well, or at least voiced by him. While I really like the intro of this episode, it's sometimes hard to remember that the series is actually called The Book of Boba Fett, given we spend 16 or more minutes actually watching the Mandalorian's backstory, along with the Armor telling us about the Purge of Mandalore, and the Night of a Thousand Tears, which was really cool by the way. One element I'm liking is the inclusion of a Darksaber. Originally, many of us were thinking that by the time of the Mandalorian's appearance in the Book of Boba Fett, he would perhaps have lost the weapon or had gone back to Bo-Katan. Instead, we're seeing Mando still wield the saber, but not exactly being proficient in the handling of the weapon. However, the Mandalorian being effectively thrown out of his cult of tribe is something I was not really expecting. It does pose some interesting questions. Will this allow him to work more closely in helping Bo-Katan retake Mandalore, or perhaps we'll see him take up his own quest once again? Evidently this plot point was thrown in by Jon Favreau to steer Season 3 of the upcoming show in the right direction, for where he wants to take the story, as well as the character of the Mandalorian. Eventually we're finally arriving on Tatooine in Mos Eisley, the infamous spaceport. It's here where the Mando meets Peli Motto, the repair shop owner who appeared in a few times in The Mandalorian, as well as a small cameo in an early episode of the Book of Boba Fett. Not only has she got a surprise with Din Djarin, but also, she's a familiar droid servicing her spacecraft in her hangar. Her new droid is a BD unit, a similar type of droid that Jedi Padawan Cal Kestis from the Star Wars game Jedi Fallen Order actually had. Certainly rather interesting if I do say so myself. At first I thought this was being a hint towards Cal Kestis turning up sometime soon. Now that would be awesome. As many of us have speculated and guessed, Mando has got his hands somewhat on a brand new ship, courtesy of Peli Motto on Tatooine. The N1 class starfighter is something that was rumoured to be Mando's new ship from a while back. These scenes also set up to likely introduce the ship's appearance in Season 3 of The Mandalorian. The repair montage initially dragged, but I actually really enjoyed it. However, the standout moment for me had to be the test flight of this new starfighter. Seeing Mando race down Beggar's Canyon like Luke Skywalker and his father before him once did was fantastic to see. This was fan service to a high degree, but it did ever so well. Seriously, hats off to the team here for bringing this to life. I loved it. Now eventually we do meet Fennec Shand and she arrives, and therefore Mando linking with Boba Fett's team and Shand. She's telling him that Fett needs her help. Luckily for Fett and his treasure, Mando offers to help for free. It's on the house. Now as we pointed out previously, Din Djarin does basically owe a bit of help, given the whole Moff Gideon cruiser mission and the rescue of Grogu. Whether the Mandalorian will now be a constant companion for Fett for the rest of the series remains to be seen. Personally, I would think it would make sense to only have him in 1 or 2 episodes, not all of them. Then again, thinking about it, we only have 2 episodes left. Yeah, that is some food for thought really. Circling back to it, while the intro scene and actually getting Mando to Tatooine did take almost 25 minutes to half an hour, it was great to establish more of his backstory, before the upcoming Season 3 of The Mandalorian. We even get a cameo of Peli Motto, the repair worker who fell in love with Grogu, and always took care of him while Mando worked on Tatooine. Now the big criticism many have of this chapter is it's basically an episode of The Mandalorian. Now this isn't a bad thing, but when you remember the show is actually called The Book of Boba Fett and it's meant to be about Fett, it would make more sense to actually show the character. However, I do have a point to counter here which might put some minds at ease. Thinking about the show like an actual book, a book has chapters of it dedicated to setting up and establishing other characters. That is exactly what the show is doing right now. It's establishing Mando's backstory so that he can help Boba Fett in securing Tatooine and perhaps later on Mandalore. We even hear reference to the Pikes in this episode as well, foreshadowing the oncoming war on Tatooine. Again, another thing I really appreciate about this story is the establishment of the Star Wars universe once again. Obviously it's already established, but we're getting even more backstory to our favourite characters, all while expanding the stories around us. Speaking of expanding stories, let us not forget the small cameo of New Republic fighter pilot and captain, Carson Teva. Paul Seung-Hoon Lee is a massive Star Wars fan, so it's always a pleasure to see him cameo in shows like this. Part of me is really hoping that we'll eventually see his story from Rangers of the New Republic emerge through shows like this. Personally, I have a feeling that he has alluded to the future of the Star Wars universe in 9ABY, as he mentions tracking down parts of the Imperial Remnant. For myself, this further alludes to Grand Admiral Thrawn returning, likely in Ahsoka. Luke Skywalker makes a cameo in this episode. Wait, no, hang on a second, sorry, he's playing Lieutenant Reed, Carson's wingman. All joking aside, Reed is played by Max Lloyd Jones, who was a stand-in for Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker in the Mandalorian Season 2 final. I was wondering where I'd noticed him from before. Alright, Exalted Ones, that's it for myself. We've got plenty to talk about here on Star Wars now for the Book of Boba Fett. Speaking of which, have you caught a brand new podcast that is taking place here on the channel? Tune in every week to watch myself, a young Obi-Wan, and some special guests discuss elements of the Star Wars universe. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with the latest Star Wars news, lore, and more. You can also follow us on social media as well. Make sure to let us know your thoughts down below in the video comment section, because if you're talking about Star Wars, then we want to hear about it. As usual, I've been Captain Jack, thanks for watching, and we'll see you this time next week. May the Force be with you.